Okay guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's Jay Ayyo. So for those of you who are new to the channel, this is where we turn viral moments into teachable lessons. So today we are going to be looking at the elections that happened in Jamaica on September the 3rd, 2025. So basically, Jamaica polls on September the 3rd, which was a Wednesday, 2025, and the ruling Jamaican Labour Party retained being in government, however, by a slim majority. By the end of the night on Wednesday, September the 3rd, 2025, JLP held lost 15 seats, while the People's National Party got an increase in 15 seats. Now, though it is a slim majority government, it is still a win for the Jamaican Labour Party, and they should be happy about that. However, due to the slim majority, it can make a little bit of their agendas and initiatives that they want to push through the parliament a bit difficult, because the PNP has 29 seats, and I believe the Jamaican Labour Party has about 33 seats. Now, there have been some changes, which of lately has happened, where the Jamaican Labour Party got an additional seat. So, for those who are new in terms of like how politics works for Jamaica, they have what is called preliminary results. So on the day of the election and when the polls close, the count begins. So the count that happens on the day of are considered preliminary, and votes for certain candidates that are within a certain threshold of saying, I don't know what the percent of votes are specifically, but if there's a slim majority of say 10 to 15 votes, for example, people may want a recount. However, the recount um, will ensure that the votes tallied for John or Benjamin are what the numbers are expected to be. But in some instances, there can be changes or miscounts may have happened. So that's why you tend to have preliminary results on the first day of voting, and then after that, the results begin to finalize. Now, what I would like to underscore is that both parties, both the PNP and the JLP, made good presentations through debates, because I saw a couple of the debates. Um, I looked through the manifestos of the Jamaican Labour Party and the People's National Party. So the JLP party is, their president is Dr. Andrew Holness, and for the PNP, their president um, is Mark Golding. So Mark Golding is the PNP president for the People's National Party. However, what I would like to emphasize with each party is that each party has its pros and cons. So in Jamaica, you have, electoral bases where people who've grown up in a PNP house, they tend to promote PNP, and people who grew up in a JLP house, they tend to promote JLP. And so the bases, or rather grassroots for these bases, tend to be really strong in, enumeration, making sure the votes come out, making sure people show up. Um, what I would say is that JLP, coming out of its second term, did some good work. However, there were, I would say, issues in terms of how they did things. Not that it had to be perfect or whatever, because you had the bus system, the rural bus system. That was a good initiative. You had a housing program going on that Jamaica continued in terms of increasing, building homes of the sorts, and a numerous of others that the PNP supported. However, like with any government in a country, there'll be issues. So I know the beach issue in Portland was something of contention. So with that coming up in the election season, there were some candidates that lost their seats. So like MP Anne-Marie Vaz lost her seat to Isaac Buchanan. I think Dr. Michelle Charles, who is the daughter of veteran politician, retired now, Colonel Charles Sr. That's the daughter. She lost her seat. So there were a lot of surprises for the GLP. I think for them, they've kind of taken stock there that there are some things that they need to work on. Nothing is perfect, but they need to get to looking back at the quote unquote underprivileged communities, which I'm not saying isn't a priority for them, but GOP for some reason tend to represent a certain group, which the PNP feels is not looked out for enough. So with the PNP, they tend to be for inner city communities, rural communities, and underprivileged communities, and they tend to harpen on, I would categorize it as freeness, but they really want to give everyone a chance. And so they may tend to fund a lot of the social programs even more than the GLP, but the GLP tends to be more um, economically conscious with the spending. So, w- with looking at how PNP did their thing in terms of unveiling their initiatives and their programs, they had a lot of programs that they would have wanted to see go out, such as the rent to own program, uh, NHT, um, building up more houses. They wanted to ensure that the heart program also ensured that at least one person in a family had a degree of some qualification. But the JLP removed fees for individual as well in the administration for people wanting to gain education up to level 5, which is like a bachelor's level program. So I think most, if not everything, there was some coming in the middle with the JLP in terms of moving towards, I guess, um, social consciousness, so to speak. The PNP increased their seats by about 15, which is really impressive. And so I think both of the parties have a lot in common, but they have different ways on how to carry out their initiatives. I think getting crime down was a really good plus with the JLP using the ZOSA. Getting debt down was something that was continued by the GLP but was started by the PNP back in 2012, going a little bit to 2016. So I think JLP though has to get back at really creating more opportunities. Though there have been opportunities, they need to start looking at, reducing, economic hardships, because everything is expensive now in Jamaica, and we have this 1% economic boom, and there has been investments, significant investments happening. However, it's not matriculating down to the lower classes in Jamaica. So I think in this term that the PNP is going, JLP is going into, they're going to have to look at how do they spread the economic boom and job creation with everyone in Jamaica so that it is actually felt and not just with one group. And so the JLP will have a lot to work on. I think their manifesto promoted a lot of things that they would continue and like to see happen, but they're going to need to do it in a way where everyone feels that economic boom that's going on. So that is what I have to say about those two parties. Please put your comments down below to say who you think won. Why do you think they won, and let me know. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.